the Yankees, one of the things they like to talk about is how tough-minded they are. And I would like to see an iota of proof that they're tough-minded. They have another 12 games to prove that. Over in the Aaron Judge era since 2017, whenever they faced an opponent that is as good or better than them, talent-wise, they fall apart pretty much.
Hello and welcome to the Pinstripe Post. My name is Ryan Sampson, the host and producer of the show. That's my guy, Joel Sherman, the star of the show. Today is Tuesday, September 2nd. The New York Yankees take 3 out of 4 against the Chicago White Sox and sweep the Washington Nationals, two series that we all knew that they were going to beat up on because that's what they do. They beat up on bad baseball teams. Now the real test begins. And before we get to any of this discussion, as always, now on a Tuesday morning after the holiday of Labor Day, Joel Sherman, how are you doing, sir?
Good. Got the second twin back to school over the weekend, so I've got a very, very empty apartment that's kind of noiseless right now. I miss the noise. But yeah,
Yeah,
boys are away for their junior year now, so
it's I'm sure it's like you said, it's different to have the quietness now, and now you're kind of settling in, and this is like the time of year, Joel, where for us as sports fans and for you as a writer, this is where it gets real, and it's getting real for the Yankees as well too. And I want to start with this fool's gold of what the Yankees are. I'll call it fool's gold myself as a fan because I'm not buying this, Joel. For you as a writer and a columnist, you've said it multiple times this year on this show. You've written it in written pieces online. This Yankees team knows how to beat up on the bad teams, but the narrative is that they can't beat good baseball teams and they can't beat the current AL playoff teams. So for you, what are you most looking forward to this week and the next week for what this Yankees team can do?
yeah, let's take Aaron Boone at his word. It's all out in front of them. It really is. There's five teams within 3.5 games atop the American League. Five. The Yankees are one of the five. They play the other four teams now for the next 12 games. Uh, I, I used to love when Jeff Van Gundy did the national NBA games. I always felt I learned something, but he had a saying I loved all the time. Somebody would ramble on about like, oh, this guy told me he really wants this game and whatever. And Jeff Van Gundy would go, don't tell me, show me. Like, we're all experts at basketball. I'll know if you're playing hard and you care about winning or not. Like, don't tell me you're playing hard. Play hard. We'll know you're playing hard. You don't have to talk about it. And at this point, the Yankees, one of the things they like to talk about is how tough-minded they are. And I would like to see an iota of proof that they're tough-minded. They have another 12 games to prove that. Over in the Aaron Judge era, since 2017, whenever they faced an opponent that is as good or better than them, talent-wise, they fall apart pretty much. The playoff record is pretty clear. They've played 7 AL Central teams in the playoffs. They're 7 for 7. The other 8 series, they won a wild card game against Oakland. We might as well be in the AL Central. I guess they're moving closer and closer. They went from Oakland to Sacramento. They'll move to Vegas. I guess if there's realignment, they might end up in the AL Central. The other 7 series, when they play Houston, Boston, Tampa Bay, Los Angeles, the Dodgers, etc., they're 0-7. They're 10-25 in those games. This year, there's 12 teams in playoff position. The team with the 11th best record against the other teams in playoff position are the New York Yankees at 23-30. By the way, 3 of those games are against the Brewers to open the season when the Brewers had 8 of their pitchers not available to them. 6 were on the injured list, 1 was suspended, and Jose Quintana had signed too late to be ready. So the Yankees torpedo bat, remember that was a big story?
Yeah.
Beat the hell out of an overmatched team. They started the season 3-0. They're 20-30 against playoff teams since then. 20-30. You could paint it a million different ways, but they have 12 games now. It's all out in front of them. At the end of these 12 games, they literally could be the number 1 seed in the American League, like they were last year. They could be atop the AL East. They could, if none of those things, have firmly established they're the number 1 wildcard team. Or they could have a 2-10 2 weeks, and we're talking about can they hold off the Rangers and Royals? And so it's all out in front of them. And Boone had taken recently to saying everything is words. We have to do it. 2025 has not been a season where they have done it against good teams. And essentially during his entire tenure, which started the second year of the Judge era, 2018, when they face a good team, his team is not as tactically strong or mentally strong as these other teams. Don't tell me, show me.
It's such an indictment, too, Joel, what you just painted out there. The fact that in this Boone and Judge era, it's been bad when you play good baseball teams and teams that
The
just.
Yankees won a big road game in 2018 in Fenway Park to tie a division series 1-1. Aaron Boone played his boombox, New York, New York. The Yankees are 5-18 against those non-AL Central teams since then, including losing the next two games at home to Boston. So, you could tell me, you could play, all this stuff. At some point, the history of the Yankees is championships and kind of having the toughness and skills and all way to get to the finish line. This team, when it has faced a good opponent, look, I've said this multiple times on this webcast. I thought the 2017, 2019, and 2022 Yankees were all better than last year's Yankees. I might even argue that 18 team that lost to the Red Sox was better than the Yankees last year. The Yankees got two AL Central teams. The Guardians, who they've beaten 4 times since 2017 in the playoffs, and the Royals, who were under 500 against everybody else if you don't include the White Sox. That's who was in front of them. They beat them. Then they got face to face with something that looks like them, the West Coast Yankees, or maybe the Yankees are the East Coast Dodgers at this point. And they got face to face to it, and they curled up, played terribly, and lost the World Series. We could say they were AL champions. They'll go down as AL champions forever. They got a good draw.
Yep.
That's what I think. I've seen better Yankee teams that didn't get the draw. They got a good draw because they didn't play a team that looks like them. At some point during this era, this Boone Judge era, the Aarons, you've got to go face to face with the monsters and slay the monsters. And they have not done that. They simply haven't. They now have 12 games at a point where they're probably healthier than they've been all season. In another year where the American League isn't particularly good. They play the Astros. The Astros broke out yesterday, but the first 6 games against Colorado and the Angels, two of the worst pitching staffs in the sport, they scored 12 runs, the Astros, in those 6 games. The Tigers have been under 500 for about 50 games now. They get the Tigers. We're watching the Blue Jays struggle.
Yep.
We're watching the Red Sox struggle against the Pirates. Like, the Yankees saved the Red Sox season by being 2-8 against the Red Sox. Here's the reality. The Yankees, I think, please don't hold me to this because it's in my column today. If anyone would like to go to New York, nypost.com, find my column. I post it on all the social media outlets. But I think the Yankees are like 5, so it would be 2-8. It's like 6-14 against the 4 teams they're playing right now, right?
So the 2-8 against the Red Sox, 1-2 against the Tigers, and then they're 3-7 against the Blue Jays,
and 1-2 against Houston,
and 1-2 against Houston. So
whatever that math adds up to, that's like
2-4.
15, 19, 6-19. Is that what it
2-4,
is?
6-12. It's 9-19.
Not 9. Can't be because it would be 7-19.
1-2. Oh, sorry, 1-2. It's
7-19.
Yep, you're right. 7-19.
Yep. So they're 7-19 against the 4 teams they're playing now. Ryan, if they were 10-9, they'd be in first place.
Yeah.
If they were 11, just play it out. If they were, and so 500 over these 12 games. Like, let's play 500 over these next 12
I would
games.
sign up for that in a heartbeat, Joel, for 500.
Yeah, it probably does one thing absolutely, which is it probably assures the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't put them in peril. But I would say at some point, if you're going to tell us, remember, the Yankees got swept 4 straight in Toronto to end June and begin July. At the end of that, Jazz Chisholm let it slip that Aaron Boone told everybody in the post game after the sweep, we're the best team in the American League. No, you're not in the standings, and no, you're not when you go head to head against these teams. But here's your moment. Go 7-5. Go 8-4. If you do the right combination of this, where it's against Toronto and Boston, where you do a lot of the winning,
Yeah.
you'll get to the top of the AL East. You'll likely get a bye, if that's what it is. I mean, but at some point, you've got to stand face to face with these teams and have an answer and not play. They have clearly played their worst against Toronto and Boston. And I don't just mean losing, I mean losing ugly by playing terribly on the
Oh,
field. The team that will then pull out all their stats and go, well, we're actually above average at this. Right. You're above average against the White Sox at it. You're above average against the White Sox. These four teams have out-homered them in those 26 games.
yep.
These four teams, I think, have out-homered them 34-32 in these 20. And we know what happens. If the other team stands up and hits more homers than the Yankees don't really have an answer. So at some point, this can't just be like the Yankees went 6-1 in the 7 games. They played 7 straight days. In those 7 days, they hit 18 homers. I think it was like 5 or 6 more homers than anybody hit in that week. Right? It was like 18-11 or 18-12. Of course, they played the Nationals, they played the White Sox, they did their Yankee thing, and they beat them up. Part of being a good team is building your record by kicking the crap out of the bad teams. The other part is at least holding your own or playing better. By the way, remember that thing where I said the Brewers started the season 0-3 against the Yankees? The Brewers have the best record in the major leagues. Not just in the major leagues, but against the other 11 current playoff teams. After getting killed by the Yankees, once they got their act together, the Brewers have flied. That little market team has the best record in the round robin of the 12 current playoff teams. The Brewers. Only the Padres have worse than the Yankees right now. And the Yankees, again, had that 3-0 start against Milwaukee. At some point, don't tell me, show me.
So you say, don't tell me, show me. This is the question I have to ask you. Am I crazy or dramatic to say the season is pretty much on the line over the next 12 games? Considering the way you painted the picture of, listen, Ryan, they could finish top of the AL, top of the AL East. They could finish, secured in a wild card spot. They could be the road team in the wild card spot, or they could be hanging on to a wild card spot and, you're literally getting chased by the Rangers or whoever. There is a huge disparity of where they can finish. Is the season on the line for the Yankees over the next 12 games?
Well, the variance is great, and the season is only on the line if they fall out of the playoffs. Because again, we'll do this again. Let's say they go 4-8 or 5-7 in these 12 games. They get into the playoffs as either the second or third wild card. We'll be here again. They'll play probably Boston in the first round, who knows, Detroit, or whoever they're playing. And we'll all point out, I don't have it in front of me again, but there are teams in history. The one that stands out the most to me is the 1988 Mets, who went like 1-11 against the Dodgers. I'm sorry, the 1988 Dodgers, who went like 1-11 against the Mets, and then won a 7-game NLCS against the Mets in '88 when Orel Hershiser was out of his mind and set the shutout record. And like, baseball's strange. The Pirates are terrible. I just watched them win a series.
Yeah.
Against Boston. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Right? Angels are 6-0 against the Dodgers this year. How can you explain it? They're terrible. So at any point during the postseason, could the Yankees win a series against a team that they struggled with? Yeah, you get the great start from Fried. You get an unexpected, like a late homer in a close game. Things happen in short series. I would find it hard to believe that this group of Yankees, unless these 12 games go a different way, have the ability to win multiple series in October against teams that make them blink every time. At some point, you got to put your feet down, draw that line in the sand, pick your cliche and say, we're not just the kings of the bad teams. Like, the Nationals aren't showing up in October. You know, it's like wild. I said to a friend of mine yesterday who's a big Met fan, I said, you know, your blessing is the Marlins won't show up in October.
Yeah,
Like the Phillies will. You seem to have the Phillies
they
number. You
do.
might have to face them again, but the Marlins won't. And the National League is, I think we positive. I think we're probably pretty sure who all 12 playoff teams are this at this point. That's why I was pretty confident to do the stat about who everybody is against the other 11. I guess the Rangers are playing really well. All it took the Rangers was to lose their best starter and a couple of their best players. They lost their best starter and their best position player, Evaldi and Seager, and now they're playing as well as they've played all year. Will they be able to carry that through September? Maybe Bobby Witt is making a late run to be considered for something, at least third in AL MVP after being the runner-up to Judge last year, and he's carrying the Royals to some stuff. But I mean, I think we know the 12 playoff teams.
Yeah,
I think the Yankees are going to be one of them. I think the Mets are going to be one of them. But I mean, it would be hard to feel good about the Yankees if the next 12 games go 3-9, 2-10, something like that, because you just be like, all right. Then they'll, for the 2 weeks after that, they'll feel great about themselves. I think, what do they play the White Sox again? I
yep,
think in there, they got the Twins, who probably have already forfeited the 3 games against the Yankees because they never beat them. And I think they got 2 series against the Orioles, who are a little feisty
they do.
right now, but probably will be overmatched, especially at Yankee Stadium. So they'll probably get to enough wins, is that 87, 88, 89, whatever it is, to get in. But these 12 games are, I mean, it would be hard for them to leave these 12 games as losers and then still do the flex. We're the best team in the AL. You know, AL goes through us, anything like that. I mean, it might be hard to do that even if they go 7-5 or 8-4, considering all the things we've seen them play oopsie with this year. But it is not like, I watch a lot of baseball, Ryan, and I'm telling you, if we were doing a Blue Jay show or a Red Sox show or an Astro show, we'd be talking about, you know, like we saw the Tigers yesterday against the Mets. There's far from like the American League champion will be a very good team, but nobody should mutter the word great. Can the Yankees be the best of a very good league? I don't know. Define something over the next 12 games to make people believe in you.
That is what the key is, right? Like for fans like myself, my producer Brian over here, we're diehard Yankee fans. We live and die with this team. We're not excited about this team right now because I don't get excited for you beating up on the White Sox and the Nationals. I will get excited though if you take the series against Houston, take the series against Toronto, then we can start talking. And next Monday, I'll come to you, Joel, and be like, you know what? Hey, we noticed a couple of things. Anthony Volpe's not making as many errors. They're playing some clean baseball. They're pitching well in key situations. They're getting good performances in the lineup that aren't just home runs. That's what we want to see. We want to see you be the actual Yankees that you can be because we've seen the talent on this team that you've pointed out multiple times this year of like, Ryan, I believe in this team's talent, but they just haven't put it together, feels like, at all, Joel. And they continue to stumble over themselves when they play these big opponents. And by big opponents, I mean just playoff teams in the AL league. Like just play good against them. Play comprehensive, like baseball, where like a fan of myself and Brian can be like, that was a good game. Like they played well. They didn't lose the game.
I don't mean to be dismissive, Ryan, of fans. Like they need to play well for themselves so that they're like, at least that their next brag has some volition, some meaning to it.
Yeah, wearing Cowboys hats on your way out of Chicago. Interesting.
Yeah, I ignore all that shit. Who get, you know?
But we pay attention as fans, though. You know what I mean?
I know, but I would make a bigger deal out of like the boombox. Like
right.
you're stepping on the graves in Boston. Like, hey, we tied a series 1-1. You didn't win another game in that series. It's at some point, and by the way, like historically, let's see it start having. This starts with Judge.
Yeah.
Judge has played for, I think what was it, like 47 regular season games against the Astros. He's hitting 199. He's played 17 postseason games against the Astros. He's hitting 200. It's no longer, that's up at about 57, 64, over 60 games. We're approaching about a half a season's worth of at-bats for him against the Astros. I mean, he's had big moments. I remember some walk-offs at Yankee Stadium in a year where they beat him a couple of times during the regular season, but it hasn't been enough from their best player. Uh, and look, maybe at some point they'll care enough about the fans to tell us what's going on with Aaron Judge and if he's ever playing right field again, because it does have meaning to how often you could play Stanton uh, or not. But their best player, they're afraid of their best player and their infrastructure. They can tell you how fan friendly they are, but they're not fan friendly. If they were fan friendly, you'd have some idea when and if Aaron Judge is playing right field again.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly it's gotten to
But
the
they're
point.
afraid of him.
They're
So
afraid of him, and
so you don't know it.
you don't know it. I mean, would it shock you if he plays right field tonight against the Astros? A smaller.
Nothing would shock me, including that he isn't playing right field again this season, and they've known it the whole time, and everything else is theater. Like, I don't think that they're an honest group.
It's look, Yankees fans. I know
But it's all out in front of them.
it is all in front of
Say
them.
that. It's
Yes,
all out in front of them.
that's
But
where I want to turn this. Go ahead.
like, this is your moment,
Yes,
right? This is your
this
moment.
is Aaron Judge's moment too.
With everything where, like Boone was right. It is all out in front of them. All five of these teams are within 3.5 games of each other. It's the Yankees are kind of in this round robin tournament right now. In 2 weeks, we could be doing a show by saying, wow, better late than never. They flexed. They're the number one seed. 2 weeks ago, we were wondering, could they play bad enough to fall out of the playoffs? Nope. They flexed. Everything's got to come through the Bronx. Everyone else, it was tortoise and the hare. And believe it or not, the Yankees were the tortoise. They caught everybody at the end. And they took care of business with all the foibles of the first 135, 40 games. Or they could be the team they've been for almost a decade now. They can see the enemy. The enemy could be really good and tough-minded, and they'll curl into the fetal position, and they'll go 3-9. And we'll be talking in 2 weeks about, wow, they better have a good 2 weeks here against some bad teams. Otherwise, they're not even going to make the playoffs, and we're going to be doing shows about who should be fired.
Yeah. I don't want that. But I there is some positive we can look forward to because, look, they did beat up on the bad teams, and I don't want to be completely negative because I do want to say, like, they have the opportunity, like you said, and they can win these games and prove to fans that, hey, we might actually be real this year and not pretenders. Joel, I have for due up. I want you to rank the three here because the rotation is something I feel like we haven't hit as strongly on lately. I know you've raised your concerns a lot on this show lately about it, but they've stayed healthy for all intents and purposes. And Ryan Yarbrough was activated off IL. It sounds like he's going to go in the bullpen and be that, another lefty for them out of the bullpen. But we know he can be stretched out as a starter. I don't know if he's there yet as stretched out, but they have the next three lined up with Fried, Warren, and Rodon. You could argue it's been their three best pitchers all season long. You don't have to argue it. They were the three best pitchers. What do you need to see out of those three to actually have some faith that the Yankees have a strong enough rotation down the stretch?
Yeah, to me, there's a couple of different conversations there. One is it's Fried and Rodon. They're your horses this year without Cole around. And I want to give credit to all three because they've made every start in a sport where that doesn't happen, especially the rookie Warren, to make all the starts. And it's one of the places I would argue with analytic people where it's like, oh, I could find a replacement level starter. Yeah, help me find that guy in the Yankee organization. If you think Alan Winans is going to be a replacement level starter, you're missing the point that they got a chance to go about 2-20 in his starts if he was starting games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is not a replacement level starter. Will Warren has made the starts. He's been one of the most valuable players on the team. It's been a gift. Like him and Schlittler have been gifts from nowhere for them and good for their pitching development factory that they've been able to do it. What's fascinating about Warren and I'm sorry, Fried and Rodon is they open up against Houston. Houston got a little left-handed with Jesus Sanchez, but and getting Yordan Alvarez back, but they are the most right-hand hitting team in the majors. And so the lefty pitchers will face that lineup. As we know, it's almost like Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa circle every Yankee game.
Hmm.
And I think Altuve is almost certainly a Hall of Fame bound player. Maybe Correa will be in consideration. They rise to the Yankees. They rise to moments in general. They're both big time clutch players. Uh, they kill the Yankees. It's funny, like even when guys left, like George Springer still kills the Yankees. Alex Bregman still
Still
kills the
kills the
Yankees.
Yankees.
It's like anybody who was tied to that Houston team, they see the Yankees and things go well for them. There's been a house of horrors playing this team. The Astros have eliminated the Astros. The Yankees are to the Astros what the Guardians are to the Yankees. The Guardians have lost 4 times to the Yankees since 2017 in the playoffs. The Yankees have lost 4 times to the Astros since 2015. There, you could tell me sign stealing that didn't exist in 15. In 1922. Like, and the fact is, these guys just keep hitting in general and against the Yankees.
Yeah.
I'm not here to pardon the Astros. What they did was despicable. Should they have been punished more? Probably. But they've kept kicking the Yankees' ass post sign stealing. So at some point, you got to let that go and beat this team. And especially this version of the team. This is the weakest Astros in 10 years. And, it's not as good as Altuve. It's not as good as Correa, though both are playing well right now. And it's not as good an overall team. And, at some point, they're your daddy.
Especially in the playoffs. I will say in the regular season, the Yankees haven't lost in Houston since the 2022 ALCS. Yes.
They swept to open the season last year,
Yep.
right? Which kind of set them up well for last season. So, look, there's another moment where the games they really matter to Houston. I mean, Seattle and Texas are getting close. When we're talking about the Yankees falling out of it. It's possible Seattle could fall out of it. It's possible Houston could fall out of it. So these are vital games for everyone in this 12 games. The Tigers are trying to get a bye. We know the Tigers are going to win the division. They want to finish with one of the 2 best records and get a bye. Toronto, there's a lot of people up there. If they suddenly were to collapse, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs up there. These are all important games. And
it's just,
I think it's fascinating little playoff preview plus for 12 days.
It really is. And that's why, again, I wanted to highlight the Fried, Warren, Rodon, because Rodon, we've seen, again, he has these moments of the season where it's like, dude, just get us 5 or 6 strong innings and just get it to the bullpen with a manageable, not giving up 5, 6, 7 earned runs. Will Warren, I feel like, has had a very strong season, but he's had moments against good teams where it's like, eesh, are you overmatched here in this situation? And Max Fried, can he turn it around? We know that the last couple months have not been great for him. Can he be, I'm not saying the first couple months of Max Fried, because those were ridiculous numbers, but can he give you in between where he's, hey, I'm going to be a bulldog here for the next 5, 6 innings, and I'm going to give this Yankees bullpen a chance to hold the lead. So that's where I'm focused on it. Like, those 3 guys are going to be, they're going to be key for the Yankees down the stretch.
Yeah. One of the things I would say is, I'm looking at the matchups. So it's the Yankees ace left-hander against the Astros ace left-hander.
Yep.
Win the matchup. Right? Win the matchup. Tomorrow is Warren versus Alexander. Alexander's older, but he has no track record, though he pitched great against the Yankees at the stadium. Will Warren win the matchup.
Yep.
On Thursday, it's Rodon versus Christian Javier, who's made 4 starts since he's come back from Tommy John surgery. I remember having a conversation with Garrett Cole, and we were talking about, I think the subject, I hope I'm right about this, we were clearly talking about wins, and I was asking him about the idea of he might be the last guy who even gets to 200 wins for a long time. This was obviously before his Tommy John
Right.
surgery. I mean, there's nobody else who's young enough who's on a trajectory, and the sport doesn't care about wins.
No.
So I said to him, "Do you care about wins?" And he said that Coach Savage, starting at UCLA, told him, outpitch the other guy. Like, if he goes five, you go six. If he gives up 3 runs, you give up 2 runs. He goes, by the way, if I do that, I'll probably get a win. So he goes, the win matters to me because it's about outpitching the other guy. So, which is also some truth serum when they tell you, oh, I'm not facing the other guy, I'm facing the lineup. Of course you're facing the other guy. Like, you have to, if the other guy's holding your lineup down, you need to hold the other lineup down. So my thing is, Fried and Valdez are probably down ballot Cy Young guys this year, guys who have a shot to. I think the vote. I don't have a Cy Young vote. You get to vote for 5 guys
Mm-hmm.
in each league, who are the 2 guys in each city. It's 30 voters in all. I think we clearly know, like, Tarek Skubal and Crochet are probably going to be 2-1, 1-2 in some way. They look like the front runners. And then there's, especially with Evaldi getting hurt, there's going to be some jumble here, probably 3 through 5, who gets on your ballot. Fried would like to get on a ballot. Outpitch Valdez, who would like to get on the ballot. Like, that starts tonight. That's a tone-setting moment. Be better than the other guy. And it almost goes for everything. Like, the Yankees lineup is in a better place right now than the Astro lineup.
Absolutely.
Be better than the Astro lineup. Their bullpen, the Astros are down Josh Hader. Be better than their bullpen. What can I say? Like the Yankees have the talent to emerge from the American League. They have not yet shown the fortitude, the temperament, the tenacity, the skill under pressure to win these kind of games. It starts tonight, and 6-1 against the White Sox and Nationals was necessary to put them in this position where these 12 games really matter. Good for them. They took care of business. Now there's another level of business. And a week from today when we do a show, or 2 weeks from today when we do a show, the floor and ceiling of those shows, Ryan, are the variance is drastic about what's possible. I will say I have not been impressed with this lot of Yankees this year, but I am impressed with their talent. I know they're talented, and I'm going to take Aaron Boone at his word. It's all out in front of them.
Let's switch gears from the starting rotation to the bullpen. Devin Williams, he had a couple solid outings where he just was not in a high leverage situations. He's pitching mostly in the 5th or 6th inning, maybe 7th inning, but against the White Sox, he gives up a run on Saturday, and you go, here we go again. When he was in a high leverage situation again, or I don't even call it high leverage, it was a leverage situation, and I'm wondering, Joel, can the Yankees count on this guy if, like, in these games, like, especially during this 12-game stretch?
The answer is they're going to have to, right? I don't think there's a day off in these 12 days, right? I think they're playing. Are they playing straight through, or is there?
So right now they have a day off next Monday before they play the Tigers.
So it's 12 out of 13 days. We know the reality of how much bullpens are going to be used. I would suspect most of these games are going to be tight.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't pitch Weaver every day, and you can't pitch Bednar every day. At some point, it looks like Fernando Cruz has come back well from the injured list, which has given them another high leverage guy. I don't think Tim Hill has been as good as the last year, but I also know that he's not afraid.
Are you concerned about, because Hill never gave up home runs, and he's given up home runs in a couple games here now?
Yeah, look, they do not have a dominant lefty in the way that you usually think about a lefty who's dominant, which is hard, like Gregory Soto kind of hard kind of thing. These are more Brooks Raley-ish relievers the Yankees have, including Yarborough.
Yeah.
Now. And it'll be interesting. Yarborough pitched well for them this year. Can Yarborough help them bridge innings. Like, if he could get 6 to 9 outs twice in a week, that would not be nothing for them now. Again, considering that I think Warren in particular will probably need some piggybacking to get 27 outs in games he starts at this time of year. So your answer on Devin Williams is the ball's going to be in his hands in some important spots over the next 12 games. You can't avoid it. It's just you can't hide guys in your bullpen.
Yeah.
They're all going to pitch. And that's even expanding to the 9th reliever, right? You started yesterday. Every team has 9 relievers. All I know is every team has 9 relievers, and I'm still watching position players pitch at the end of games because somehow we're still running out of pitchers in games, which is stunning and says everything about the modernity of where we are and wondering if we could ever stuff the genie back in the bottle and let starting pitchers pitch a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you, Joel. That it's gonna be another moment where Devin Williams.
Don't you think Devin Williams? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's
Ryan.
okay.
Don't you think Devin Williams is the Yankees? He's talented and wilts, and the bigger the moment, like he's almost the symbol of the team this year. I don't think there's any like you watch Devin Williams at his best this year, and you're like, yeah, that's a tough matchup for a hitter. That's tough. And then when the collar gets a little tighter and he's yanking pitches and leaving, to get behind and then leaving him over the plate, and you're like, oh, the moment got big on Devin Williams, and Devin Williams didn't get big with it. And so I kind of feel he's almost symbolic of what they've gone through this year, which is, man, they could look good. And man, they could really wilt in a big spot.
Yeah. It's a good point by you, Joel. The symbolism of Devin Williams and this Yankees team. But then I got watch a guy like Weaver and Bednar, and I'm like, those guys have it. But you need more than 2, like you said.
So
you can't be just Weaver's 2 guys every night.
So I always start with, and I get it, and it's Tim Hill is dealing with marginal stuff, but he's not dealing with marginal guts. Like I still am do I believe the guy is up to this? Like Luke Weaver might have a bad 12 days. I think Luke Weaver's up for the fight. I don't think he's afraid. Major League Baseball, sometimes even really unafraid, talented people lose. Mariano Rivera lost playoff games. I didn't think at the end of that Mariano Rivera, he really can't handle this moment. Like sometimes the other guy wins because these are the most talented players in the world. I think when the ball is in Luke Weaver's hands, I would sleep comfortably if I were the manager or the pitching coach or a fan, whatever the result is. And sometimes the results are going to be shitty if you're a Yankee fan, because sometimes the results are shitty, but that's true about everybody. There's no, like, what Aroldis Chapman, believe it or not, is doing this year is rare. Most relievers are, are fallible, and Weaver will probably give some stuff up between now and whatever the finish line of the season is for the Yankees. But of all their relievers, when he comes in, if I were a Yankee fan, I'd say I'm okay with whatever the outcome is.
Yeah, that makes sense. Joel, I do have some news. Aaron Boone was on Talking Yanks just now and did announce that Giancarlo Stanton will play left field tonight, which means Aaron Judge will be DHing again. We know that there's a shorter amount of field for him to cover in left field. And he says that, whatever you care about this, Judge is getting closer to playing the field, but we know that's no set return date for him to come back in the field. Let's wrap this up, Joel.
At what point can you not use the term closer?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm serious. Language is my life.
Yeah.
He's described him as closer now for a little period of time. So to me, close means, but we all have different definitions. Close means a day or 2 or 3. So we've already gone beyond my acceptable period of don't use that word. Don't use that word. It's off limits to you. You don't know what it means. You are forbidden from using the word.
I don't think he looks that far into it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that I think he's a puppet on this. He doesn't have the ability to say, I really do feel it's a week. I think he has to follow. forget about lineups and other stuff, which I actually think should be a group effort, while most people don't. Like, I never understand when people say, well, he doesn't even have control of the lineup card. I'm like, I actually do believe Aaron Boone has control of the lineup card. I believe he listens to people who run game theory and run analytics about what the best possible lineups are, and then takes into account that and other things and makes a lineup. Like, anybody who isn't doing that and is just basing everything on their gut in 2025, I would call that person an idiot. So like when people say he doesn't have control of the lineup card, I actually think he has final say on the lineup card. I think he listens heavily to advisors on the best lineup. I mean, you could probably feed it into an AI program at this point. Would you take an AI program? It's funny. Everyone thinks Aaron Boone, all the Yankee fans are like, oh, Aaron Boone sucks. And then they're like, but why doesn't he make up the lineup card? So he sucks, but you're mad that he doesn't make up the lineup card. Okay, that makes sense someplace in the world. But anyway, like with your credibility on an issue like when a player is playing or not, I think that is, you have to tell the front office, or you have to tell your best player. The toughest thing I do in my job, believe it or not, is I'm the team spokesman multiple times a day. And if I go out there and I use terms that are ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
then I become ridiculous.
I
Right?
Yeah.
At some point, like, if you keep telling me something's close and we go a day, we go another day, we go another day, I'm just like, well, I either believe that you don't know what the word means, or you're taking orders from someplace else to use a term like that.
It does raise the question and red flags again for me as a fan. I'm wondering how bad Judge's elbow really is, or the flexor strain is for him, and how compromised he could be if he does return to the field, because the longer that this goes, it just feels like you guys are putting
Yeah,
off
I
the
actually think
inevitable.
the opposite.
Okay.
I think that at this point, they're probably saying, if you're going to play again this year, you have to hit all these. There is probably a Yankee program to bring somebody back. This is why this annoys me.
Mm-hmm.
There is certainly a program the Yankees have for returning a player from this injury, and he has to hit X number of mile markers. You've got to be able to play catch. You've got to be able to throw on a line from 120 feet, from 180 feet, from 270. You've got to throw to bases. You got to do it on back-to-back days. Take a day off and then do it on back-to-back days again. There is a program in place. So the Yankees absolutely, and Judge absolutely know the program and can say, if they wanted to, the program generally lasts 12 days or 20 days or 25 days, or it's 10 days and he goes and gets another set of imaging to make sure everything is in place, and then we ramp up again. But there is at least, the Yankees are a multi-billion-dollar organization. They have like top flight medical people, trainers, etc. They're not just willy-nilly going, why don't you throw to third base? Do a couple of chin-ups, see how your arm feels at the end of it. Like, they have a program, and they could decide whether to let their fan base and the fan base of the sport, for no less than the second most important player in the sport, they could let people know what that program is and when he might play again, or they could do he's getting close. They've decided to do he's getting close. I assume that's dictated by the player, who doesn't want his stuff out on the street. He has that right. He has that right to do that. I mean, like, there are HIPAA laws, etc. Like, he does not have to have it out there. I think it's missing the big picture of who he is, and that there are people who might go or not go to a game based on his availability. But yeah, like, again, like, I'll make this point, Ryan. I made it last week. Hopefully I won't do it again. Whether he plays right field or not, for me personally, I don't care.
I know you don't.
I don't care.
I know.
I don't care. But I'm assuming people who watch this or read me in the paper or are Yankee fans, they care a lot. And that is my job, to try to answer questions that they care about a lot. The Yankees have decided, and Judge have decided, this question should not come close to being answered for their fan base. Because again, for me, When he plays right field, he plays it. I'll I know which games I'm covering for the next 2 weeks. I'm not earmarked. Like sometimes I change,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was supposed to cover Saturday's Met game, and I covered Friday night because we wanted me on the Jonathan game. Like I'll change, but and I might change if we know for sure Judge is playing. But really, nothing in my life changes if Judge plays or not, right field. But I do think it's my responsibility, if I could find out that information, to share it with people who really do care. And there are millions of people who care. On this issue, the Yankees have decided those millions of people do not need to know this information.
And then we wait. Information holding has been I feel like something that's become apparent with all the local New York teams, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, we've gotten football-fied,
Yeah,
right? Like the
it's
football
it's Bill
teams.
Belichick-fied, where I'm not going to give you
Yeah.
the real injury report. I'm not going to tell you all the information you're going to ask me. And I mean, the MSG does the same thing with the Knicks and Rangers. They restrict their access and information. You don't hear from. I mean, Joel, we haven't heard from Leon Rose at all since like his opening presser, and the guy
It's an
runs
insult to
everything.
fans. And look, I would say a lot of fans might say, I don't care to hear from him. He's doing a great job. But you kind of would like to hear like, hey, we made the call Towns trade because, and take questions from media that's not bought and sold by the NBA or the Knicks themselves. Uh, because those people would probably, if they're doing their job well, ask the questions that the fans would like answered. Like they fired one of the most successful coaches in the history of their franchise. It is insulting to that person and to the fan base that the person who, I'm assuming Dolan actually did it, but like if you still are Dolan's puppet, then you have to go stand in front of reporters and explain that decision. It's respectful to the person who was a good employee of yours, but it's also respectful to the fans. Again, like if I covered the Knicks, the reason that Tom Thibodeau is fired, I don't give a shit. But I suspect that the people who read me or watch me do. So I would like to know the answer to the question that you got some banal nonsense in a press release is disrespectful to the person who you fired and to the fan base that pays your salary. It's disrespectful what he does. It's utterly disrespectful
And that's
what he
why
does.
we're left to these devices where we're so, again, appreciative of all the fans who come and watch us and leave their comments, where we get to discuss these things. And we get to, I don't want to call it speculation, but we get to talk about it and discuss it and say, hey, here's what we're getting the messaging wise. Here's what we can read into these things because they won't communicate these things clearly to us. So now we have, for you on the reporter to dissect it, understand it, explain it to the fans, and then me as a fan react to it and try and say, okay, I understand what you're saying.
I will say that like David Stearns is pretty good.
Yeah.
He talks, I think once a week, or is it once a series? He'll like kind of, it's usually Tuesday at home. I think like second game of the series, he comes down. If I don't know about other reporters, if I have like a query, I'm curious about things, he's pretty good. Brian Cashman's been that way for 25 years. Not as good as he used to be. I think he feels besieged by a lot of things over the last couple of years, but still better than most and a freaking prince compared to Leon Rose. Uh, like he comes when there's a major decision, he makes himself, the Yankees and Mets made deals at the trade deadline. Their media, their general managers were available. The Knicks do things and you get a press release. It's not really kind to fans. And now I know some fans will say, yeah, they're winning, I don't care. But I do think that fans care. Like why play? Like I think even little things, right? Like I have friends of mine who are crazy Knicks fans, and they're telling me the Knicks have one more veteran they could sign, and they're arguing about who the 15th guy on the roster should be. When that decision is made, Leon Rose should make himself about the 15th man on the roster. He should make himself available and say, we went with Ben Simmons because, or we went with whoever that 15th We went with Brogdon because we thought we needed more help in the backcourt, another guy who could penetrate, run the whatever it is. You owe that to your fan base. Don't you? I mean, I have, again, friends in my life who care about the 15th guy on the Knicks. So imagine what they felt about when the Knicks this offseason signed 2 key bench guys.
Yeah.
Or extended Bridges.
Yep.
Like all the implications. Like, it's just disrespectful to your fan base, which spends so much money on your club between whatever streaming services cost and tickets and paraphernalia and time and energy and love and care. Look at you, Ryan. You are living and dying with the Yankees every day. You're living and dying with the Yankees every day. Some part of your brain, I'm sure, is obsessed about this game tonight from the second you wake up today, right?
I've been looking forward to this matchup tonight. Like this series is going to get me back into the Yankees this year, Joel, or I'm going to be on the other side like I am right now, where I don't care anymore where this season goes because I know how it's going to end.
So Ryan, my blessing is that I don't care about like I was with my best friend since I'm 10 years old yesterday. He's a crazy Met fan. I have crazy Met fans in my life. I have crazy Yankee fans in my life. So I know what's going on, like in their lives, what they're thinking. I talk to them all the time. I'm blessed. I have good friends. So I know the mindset, and I think I know what they want to know. And when the teams decide that it's all nuclear secrets or they're small-minded, I always like, that helps who, why. Obviously, if you tell me it helps me, but I think it helps your fans also get closer to the team and understand your thinking more. Anyway, we went somewhere on reporting journalism 101 here. I didn't mean to take us down that road, but I just, like I do, I as somebody who doesn't cover it at all, I will say this, and you could block me, you could try to get me fired. If I covered the Knicks, I would call Leon Rose every 5 minutes.
That's a clip
I'm not
right there. I know. I know.
I mean, I would call him every 5 minutes. I'd force him to block me, whatever. And the one thing I wouldn't do is if I got something wrong and either him or one of his bobos called me to say, hey, I'd be like, I tried to get this right desperately. I wanted to get it right. You don't get to 2020 hindsight me on something. Like, I reached out to you. That was your opportunity to say something before it went into print forever.
What a time.
My answer to you is go screw yourself. Like, at that point.
What a time. What a time for sports, man, and sports media. Joel Sherman, it's time for Joel's Notebook. I do want to ask you about this player because he had a great week again last week, and he's had a great season. And he's the forgotten man in the Juan Soto trade, and that is Trent Grisham. Guy's on pace for 30 home runs this year. He's been the leadoff guy for them mostly this season. Time and time again, whether it's a grand slam, it's a clutch home run, I don't know what it is, Joel. His approach looks better. He just looks like a completely different player in terms of the play, the at-bats and plate appearances. From the field, you can still get a little frustrated where he looks like he loafs in center field on some fly balls and balls that have high catch probability that he doesn't get to. But overall, for the player himself, he's been a very important piece for this Yankees team. I don't know, Joel. Do you have a comp for Trent Grisham? And the larger question is, what do the Yankees do with Trent Grisham? Because he is a free agent at the end of the year, and do they extend him the qualifying offer?
Yeah, there's a lot there. So let's start with something that I think is important. The Yankees lost Juan Soto, and if they don't have a successful season this year, I don't think it's going to be about the loss of Juan Soto. Like again, because I know what Yankee fans think, they're like, Cashman sucks at everything. Well, Cody Bellinger and Trent Grisham are on Cashman's ledger also, right? Like they were, Cashman got Grisham included in the trade, and there was a real tough decision, I think, for me in the offseason, whether they even tendered him a contract coming off a bad year, and they tendered him, and they got Bellinger, and those two guys together, and even independently, their numbers stand up. It's like their numbers clearly stand up to Kyle Tucker, who would have cost them Luis Gil in a trade. So, like, all good for the Yankees there. Grisham is the kind of player, again, he's a Yankee in a lot of ways. He is really talented. He is really talented. There's a smoothness, obviously, to his game. There He is not one of those guys who blinks under pressure. We saw that, right? He played great against the Mets as a Padre in their playoff series a couple of years ago. He obviously has a bad moment in his history where the Juan Soto's Nationals in 2019. One of the reasons they get through the Brewers is Grisham misplays a ball in right field, but that was not a really easy play. But yeah, I think that the other part of it is all fascinating and is going to make all our off-season shows fascinating.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like if you know you're keeping Bellinger, you don't have to keep Grisham. If you don't know, do you have to keep Grisham? If you really believe in Spencer Jones, do you have to keep Grisham? Uh, so I think that there's all of that. I think there's a media question. The qualifying offer will probably be about $22 million. I think if the Yankees put the qualifying offer, they can't put it on Bellinger, who's already had it,
Right.
right? You can only have it once. I think if the Yankees put it on Bellinger, on Grisham,
Grisham.
I think there's a fairly good chance he might take it
Hmm.
because, like, let's play the game. Does he get 3 at 39, 3 at 42, 3 at 45? What's his number in the offseason? 2 at 32? Like off of this year, but like not a great body of work, not a great body. Like you got to wonder how his body's going to age. Um, could you play this is that walk year season that fools you and he goes immediately back to being who he was the minute he signs a contract? I don't know. The sport is clamoring for guys who could hit, so I think he's going to get a deal, and I think somebody will buckle and give him three. Let's say it's 3 at 45. Does he go for 3 at 45? And again, remember, there'll be a little chilling of the market if the Yankees put the qualifying offer on him. Or is he better off doing 1 at 22? I think it's something he'd have to think about, worrying if he's even getting to 3 at 45 in this marketplace. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll get 3 at 60. Maybe people will look at it and say, center fielder who hits home runs and draws walks. Shit, I'll give that a lot of money.
Right.
If I were guessing today, my guess would be 3 at 42. Like that would probably be about the number for him. I've been right on some of these. I've been wildly wrong on some of these over the years.
But you
But
you, you would think
I
he
think
has a market though, right? He has a pretty good market considering the guy almost hit. I mean, I understand maybe
I
he'll
think
get.
he has a great market for 1 or 2 years when he'll absolutely want 3, 4, or 5. Like it's a little bit like if Pete Alonso puts himself out as a 2 year player, he has a gigantic market. But if he puts himself out as a 5, 6, and 7 year player, he has a lot less of market. So I think the question is, Grisham is this is he had the right year at the right time.
He's
He
28
plays
years
a
old.
plays a position that is of great need. He's 28 years old. Body wise, you think he's 28 years old? Like, would you bet on him to stay healthy and
History
productive?
would say he's not going to stay healthy.
Right. Uh, and there are probably some guy, it seems, who will be like, I just can't have a player who moves like that in the field where it feel like whatever the reality is, the body language is telling me something. Um, it's fascinating. I think this free agent class, I keep mulling in my mind who are the five most fascinating guys in this free agent class, and I have like about 30 for five. Because like to me, Alonso's fascinating. To me, uh, Grisham, Bellinger, these are just New York players.
Kyle Tucker.
Like Kyle Tucker, like is he really a $400 million Kyle Tucker, a $400 million player? Bregman going back out in the marketplace. Michael King is hurt again, but when he pitches, he's great. Like I think there's great variant possibility in a lot of free agents. So like the guy who's pitching tonight against the Yankees, Framber Valdez, like go look at his career. He's the one of the exceptions. He's a metronome. He has the same season every year. He's got about I haven't looked at it in months, but I bet you he's between like a 125 and a 145 ERA plus probably for 6 years. Like he feels like he's the same guy every year. I bet you he's in that bucket this year. And then the question will become like, then some teams will be like to me, why wouldn't he be Max Fried? At least I think he's even younger than Max Fried. He's kind of pitched as well as Max Fried. He's pitched in a lot of postseason games. He's handled himself well. Should he be a $210 million pitcher?
I mean, he's gonna be 32 in November.
Right. And Fried was what, 30 pitches at 31 this year?
I believe Fried was. I'm just looking up. He turned 31 in January.
Right. So he's pitched at 31 this year, right?
Right. So he's a year younger next year.
So
You know,
so does
if
Valdez, instead of getting 8 at 210, get 7 at 175?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know.
I think it's all fascinating.
Yeah,
Uh
but it's a
and
key
Grisham,
question for Grisham though. I think for the Yankees,
but I think part of the question, don't you think part of the thing is what do the Yankees really think about Spencer Jones? And by the way, what do they really think about Jason
Dominguez. That's the real question. Because would it shock you if they? I guess can they send him down as a AAA season over if Schlater comes back from the IL in the next couple of days?
I mean, they can send them down. You could send somebody down even in the minor leagues. You option them to a AAA team.
Yeah.
The team doesn't have to be playing. The team is playing, but they don't have to be playing. But I wonder why to keep the third catcher.
Yeah, because I don't think. I don't know. Do you believe in what Austin Wells gave you the last couple of days over the White Sox? I mean, I think Ben Rice is securing his spot in the lineup every day because Paul Goldschmidt's not giving you much. But what I'm saying is J.C. Esquera. Maybe I'm crazy here, Joel. J.C. Esquera, I feel like he's not going to give you outs on the base pass like Austin Wells has, and he might be a better bat right now than Austin Wells.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to demote Wells. The question is, would you keep Esquera over? Is the third catcher because you could pinch hit, pinch run, etc., or is Dominguez as at least a pinch runner and an option to go out in the field against righty pitching? Like again, like this is with layers. Is Judge ever playing the field again? Because if he does, then Stanton goes to DH, right? Then in theory, there might be days where you could get. I mean, Dominguez has lost his job clearly.
Yes.
He's not playing anymore, starting anymore. Is there pinch running, or hey, he's going to go in the like we're running for Stanton. He's going to go to left, whatever kind of thing. I don't know. If Caballero's not playing, he's the pinch runner anyway. Like the number one pinch runner. Dominguez, though, has got a chance to steal a base. But it is a question. But again, so look what we're doing here, just to go back to our previous thing. The Dominguez, J.C. Esquera question is about the 28th guy on the roster.
Right.
And look how much you care.
I care because, I'm a diehard fan.
But I'm going back to fans caring about like that nickname.
Right.
Like this is why people need to talk for the teams and explain things because you care so much about like big things. Is Judge playing right field? But you even care about like, I'm trying to imagine in my mind, what's more valuable? A third catcher who, I could double switch, or maybe he even takes some bats away from Wells, or do I stick with Dominguez? Do I lose Dominguez's confidence if I sound? That's what you're going through. That's my job to know you're going through that and ask the question. And then it's somebody else's responsibility on that side to care enough about their fan base, about you, to answer the question honestly. And because you care about what is, it's not minutia, but comparative minutia to the big stuff. Is Fried going to step up? Is Judge going to play right field? Etc. But you even care about the 28th man. And you're starting to think about 2026 already.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how do they do this? And so when executives do not make themselves available who are making these decisions, they are disrespecting you. I hope fans see that because like the reason I ask a question, I don't sell it like heroin on the street when I get the answer. I put it in a newspaper or up online, or I do it on this broadcast or for MLB Network or on the webcast later that I'm doing with John. That's what I do with it. This is not some like, man, I actually know what Aaron Judge is going to play or not. I'm going to go stand on the corner, hope I don't get busted and sell it like a drug. Like I'm going to put it out there for the fan base. That's the job. That's the job. They can't let 1 million people into the clubhouse. They let me in. Hopefully, I know the questions to ask. Hopefully, they're professional enough to answer it honestly.
Joel, we haven't had a good media therapy session in a long time. Felt like last year we had a couple of them. This one was the first big one of the year. And I appreciate you, man, as always, for just talking it out, discussing what's going on currently with this team, discussing what's all in front of the Yankees over this next coming. It's all in front of them.
It's really I'm fascinated by these 12 games. I'm fascinated by it. Like, I'm disappointed that these games are on the road to open.
And 8:00
starts. I'm going up to Fenway to close it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So I'll be there for the 3 against Boston.
Ask him about the boombox. See how that goes.
Yeah.
Joel Sherman, you're the man as always.
Yes.
I can't wait to see how this goes over the next 6 days for these 6 games. We'll talk to you next Monday when they're off, and we'll see where the Yankees are at that point. But as always, we appreciate you, Joel, and we'll see you next time.
All right, Ryan. All the best, and all the best to the viewers.